Hello everyone, and welcome to Unit 1 of Remote Music Studio. As this is the first unit of instruction, there are a few things that we may go into with a little bit more detail than will be done in subsequent videos, but the main focus right now is going to be talking through and understanding what is expected in Unit 1. Now the first thing I want to point out is that if I scroll to the bottom, and this will be the same in any unit, you can find a document containing all of the above information along with any rubrics or supplemental materials. You'll also find a link to a Google Drive folder where if you have any materials that need to be turned in or submitted, can be done so into this folder. However, returning to Unit 1, let's take a look at our learning objectives. You're going to be signing up for a weekly lesson time. This is very important. With some assistance from myself, though mostly on your own, you will be selecting an appropriate piece of music as the basis for study for the duration of the course. Once you have done that, we're going to go ahead and have our first lesson, where part of that will be discussing the piece you've selected, but also just getting to know each other a little bit so I get an idea of who you are as a player and what your skills are. Based on that first lesson, we're going to construct some goals for the duration of the course, and of course you're going to be posting in the weekly discussion forum. You can find here what benchmarks we are meeting in the Michigan Merit Curriculum, but let's get into some of the details here, some of the instruction. First things first, you are going to be signing up for a weekly lesson time. Once I have an idea of how many students are going to be in the course, and depending on exactly when in the year we are, I will create a document with my availability for lessons. It is very important that you sign up early so that you can get a time that works for you. If for whatever reason there is a week that you are unable to attend your lesson, please, 1, let me know about that ahead of time, but then 2, you can go ahead and sign up for a makeup lesson that week. Our lessons are too important for us to just not have one some week. If you do miss a lesson and it is unexcused, you will receive 0 points for that lesson, which would not really be a thing that you want to happen. Moving forward, however, we do want to get some repertoire. We want to get you to choose your piece of music for the course. Now, this is a pretty big deal, and some of you maybe already have an idea of what you'd like to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to visit the Smart Music Library and use their search tool to see what's available. Now, you may already have a piece in mind, which is great if you do, but you do want to make sure that it's in the library. So let's say, for example, I'm a trumpet player, and I'm going to make sure that I'm using, first of all here, the search for solos and methods. You don't want to be looking through their full ensemble literature. But I'm a trumpet player, so I'm going to come down here, I'm going to select my instrument. And if I have a piece in mind, let's say I want to play the Hummel Trumpet Concerto. Well, I'm just going to type Hummel in here. I'm going to go ahead and search for it. And hey, there it is, the concerto in E flat major. I can see all of the movements are there, and it looks like all of them are at an advanced level, which is great because I need to make sure I'm choosing something that is at least at a medium difficulty level. So if I have a piece of music in mind, I know this is what I want to play, then I'm good to go. I know it's there. But let's say I don't know what I want to play. I'm going to do a new search here. We're going to get rid of Hummel. I'm going to leave it on trumpet. I'm going to leave it on my instrument. I'm going to select something at the medium difficulty level. Again, medium, medium advanced, or advanced, please. But I'm going to select medium right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and search for everything on the trumpet list that is a medium. And I can see here there's a lot of stuff, 152 titles. Now that's a lot for me to look through. Perhaps what I would want to do is limit myself by composer. Maybe I only want to look for things by Bach. That would at least give me some kind of a limited list. But in any event, what I want to do is I want to start looking through the Smart Music Library to find a piece of music, or at least a short list, so that if one of my pieces doesn't work for some reason, I have others to fall back on. Going back to the unit plan here, so I'm going to locate my repertoire. Do make sure that you can find your piece of music for purchase if you don't already have it, or at least borrow from a friend, something. But looking at sites like JW Pepper or Sheet Music Plus are great if your local music vendor does not stock that particular piece. If you do have a hard time finding the piece, please let me know, and I'll see if I can help out in any way. So, step 3, we are going to have our initial lesson. Now, for this, you want to make sure that you are good to go with Google Hangouts. If you have not used Google Hangouts before, you're going to need a microphone, a webcam, speakers, all of the things outlined at the beginning of the course in the syllabus. If I visit Google Hangouts here, I can see that we're going to be making video calls. You can see a log of all these, lots of things going on, people saying hello, missed calls, and of course people who hate and maybe love all sorts of things. But we're going to be using Google Hangouts to make sure we can communicate and have our lessons. Moving on, once we have our lesson, you are going to write some goals based on that lesson. Now, those goals may be specific to your piece. However, they may also just be something to support you in your piece of music. And an example is provided here. But let's say you have a piece of music that has a section in A major that for whatever reason is difficult for you to play. Well, rather than just saying, hey, I'm going to work on this part of the music from measure whatever to whatever, maybe what you really need to do is work on your fluidity in A major. So goals in that case might be running appropriate scales or arpeggios. These are things that we can help come up with together. Now, this is going to be a written document that you are going to need to turn in. And in fact, if you missed this on the others, under each step, there's a little sentence just telling you, hey, this is the minimum of what is required. So I can see for step 4 here, for writing appropriate goals, I need to submit a minimum of 7 goals to the instructor via Google Docs. And that, again, is something that would be submitted by clicking on the link here at the bottom. There's not many resources that you're going to need for this lesson. As long as you have access to the Smart Music Library and appropriate access to Google Hangouts, you're going to be all set. You will need to post in the discussion forum, and I can see here the questions this time around. Very simply, as it's week 1, an introduction of yourself so your classmates can get to know you, and also post what your short list is of your selections for repertoire. And just so we're all familiar here, if I click on the discussion forum, I can see the rubric right above. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Units 1 and 2. And if I click on Week 1 questions, I can see those same things posted here, and I can include my response below. Going back to Unit 1. Once I have my discussion questions answered, moving on to the assessment, there's actually not a whole lot to be evaluated this week. This week is all about setting a baseline for the rest of the course. So, as long as you have all of your items turned in on time, and you and I have spoken about them, and we agree that they're reasonable goals, and you've chosen a reasonable piece for the rest of the term, everything should be considered satisfactory. Do make sure you are getting a look for that piece of music early in the week. We can't really have a very good lesson, and you can't write very good goals if you have not selected a piece of music or at least gotten down to a short list. So, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Do take a look at the Unit 1 plan. Do look for that piece of music. and I am looking forward to what you're going to be coming up with. Thank you very much, everybody, and good luck.